Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. There is no time like the present, and that is far from a cliché. It's actually all there is. This is Wade Vincent, Forever Better Academy podcast, and today, guys, I really wanted to talk to you about being in the moment and being here now and what that can do to impact your life. So, ever since I was a little boy, I was a warrior. Always worrying. I'm not even sure I could pinpoint where it stems from, but if I had to guess, it would probably stem from, okay. So for some context, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and when, at the time, especially in Australia, it was very normal. Most of the kids that I went to school with were from broken families. The typical had an older brother and then a younger sister, single mum, and that was very, very common when I was a kid. And I guess if I had to really think back or try to understand why maybe I felt that way, I'd have to say it was probably because right from a very early age, I didn't have a father around at all. I had I can't even remember my dad. My mum, well, from when I was a kid, I've ever since, I've grown up, I've reconciled, I guess, if you could say that, with my dad, and I have a great relationship with him now that I have sons of my own. And when I was little, I think it was about, from the stories Mum would tell me, I was probably about 9 months old when they split and got a divorce. So right from the earliest memories that I have and I can recall, it was just me and Mum. That was it. Me and Mum and my little sister. I have memories when I think my dad came to, it might have been my 5th birthday party, something like that. But pretty much non-existent, right? So I remember a sense of angst and sort of frustration, like why I didn't have a dad, why I wasn't there, why was it this way for me, right? So I mean, and it's not even a victim thing. I was a little kid, trying to understand the world that I've been thrust into, and I think that it caused a lot of anxiety in me and worry, because it was likely that I just didn't feel there was a real stability in my life. When you're a kid, and it's so important, and speaking as a father now, understanding the security and structure that it gives to your children as they're growing, to have, the mum and dad in the house together, and that sort of, as I said, the stability that they can rely upon, and they can navigate the other challenges of the world because their home is a safe environment and it's constant, right? So as I said, ever since I was little, always worried, always been a thinker, just constantly in my head all the time, trying to understand and navigate and fathom what I'm experiencing, what I'm up against, and what I'm going through, right? And it was, I can remember being in the car with my mum and just I guess you would say it was praying. I used to sort of look at it like I wasn't really a religious kid, but I sort of, at the time, I thought of it as almost making wishes or asking. So I guess you could call it praying. And I remember being in the car and just just sort of in my normal worry mode and praying. And I remember my mum turning to me while she was driving the car and said, "What are you worrying about now? So it was very obvious, even to my mum, that that's all that I was consumed with, that worry, right? And I think I really had this desire to understand, to feel like I had some sort of control of what was going to happen in my life, and it takes away from your ability to focus on other things when you're little, and just being a kid and enjoying and playing, and not to say that I didn't have those experiences, but um, it weighed heavily upon me. I was constantly in this sort of space of needing to find that control and structure and security in my life because of that experience. I would say that's probably what drove it. And the outside was, I just wanted to know, I guess, what the future held. Like what's coming, if my life has sort of been not turmoil but disruption, and trying to comprehend that. I had this immense desire to understand what was coming, right? What's next? What's going to happen in the future? So, worried about that, and then I'd worry about, what had happened, what had passed, and why did that happen? And I spent so much of my waking time either in the future worrying about what was going to happen, or in the past worrying about what did happen. And that's pretty much the formula or the recipe for disaster. That's the cause of anxiety. If you're spending time worrying about things that have passed that you can't do anything about, or you're spending significant amounts of time worrying about things that haven't happened yet, you're everywhere but the present moment. And that's why you're worried, because you're at least this is especially the case for me. I was spending a lot of energy, almost all of my energy, consumed with being somewhere else, somewhere that wasn't even real. The past is gone. The future hasn't even happened. So I was worrying and stressing about hypotheticals. It wasn't serving me well, right? So and I'm a kid, so you don't really understand how to approach that and how to navigate it. So I think that it hit me hard that as much as I wanted to feel a sense of control in my life, that I had the ability to actually take ownership and control outcomes in my life, very early on realizing that, or feeling like I couldn't when I'm a kid, because it dawns on you that you can't control the actions of others. And that was a thing that made me worry as well, because I'm like, okay, well, what if if my dad's not here, and mum and dad aren't together, and then this happens, and then what if this person does that, and then it's just like down the rabbit hole, snowballing into just stress and anxiety, because being scared of what might happen, because other people's actions are completely outside of my control. And that's something you don't really know how to face as a little kid. So I think and it took a long time. This is something that I think, a good portion of my life, I would say I was a warrior, and even some people now, probably my wife would tell you that I'm still a warrior. But yeah, I like to think of it as, strategic planning, or, I'm thinking of things. I like to, plot things out, but that's my process, right? But it doesn't affect me like it used to. I'm not anxious about things now. I'm more considerate, right? So after I sort of came to terms with the fact that other people's actions are outside of my control, I think I had this moment where I knew that I can only control my actions, and I can influence what's going on in this very moment. So it was almost like a revelation. I'm like, I had this sort of, almost like an aha, like, okay, so I can't do anything about the past. It's gone. And I don't know what the future holds, and it's serving me, it's not serving me well to spend time worrying about what may happen. What can I do? And I realized I can bring myself back to the present moment, because, as I said, that's all there is. There is no past, there is no future. This very moment, right now, with you sitting there watching this, or sitting listening, driving in your car, wherever you may be, this moment right now is the only moment that exists and that ever will exist. There isn't either side of it. It's only the present, only right now. And when it sort of when that became truth to me, and I understood that instinctually, it allowed me to step back almost and question, okay, well, how do I approach this moment, and what do I have control of? What can I do that will affect and impact the direction and course of my life based upon the actions that I take in this moment? So I would look at it, and I would, I'm all for future planning. You have to dream and have ambition and goals, because the future, we can create the future, but the future is created only through the actions that we take in the present. So the future is almost, the future is always imagination. The future is a thought. The future is a concept. And it only becomes truth for you if you take the time and consider what you want the future to be, and then backstep the actions that you can take in this moment that lead to that. So that was my plan. I assessed it and took those steps. What do I want to be? Where do I want to go? How do I want my life to play out and occur? Because that sense of control and stability that I was longing for only comes from my actions. Even if it's disrupted by other people and their actions, and I have the ability to decide how I respond to those actions, how I behave, the actions that I take right now in this moment. That's all there is. That will give me a sense of peace, stability, and security. Will remove my anxiety, will remove my worry, because I've put on those blinders. I've brought down to that laser vision, and now I can see the peace that I'm in control of and responsible for is my present right now, this very moment. So I took that upon myself, and I planned. And I think one of the greatest sense of freedom that I feel, almost like a weight off my shoulders, that I'm sure will bring value to you as well, is no matter what your goals are, or your ambitions or desires, or where you want to take your life, if you know the actions that will lead you there, and you take those actions, even if it takes, let's say you have an ambition, and I always use sport analogies, things like of this nature. So if your ambition is to be a bodybuilder, right, and it takes years and years to develop that muscle maturity, your muscle memory, and get to that desired outcome, you can feel a sense of achievement and pride in each moment that you take those actions. So while, this may be your very first day that you step into the gym, right? Say you're trying to lose weight, and you want to lose 20 kilos. What's like 12 pounds. I'm not sure of the exact conversions for my overseas friends. that first step into the gym, and that single time that you are exercising and taking that action, you're creating your future. You're living in the now, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be accepting of that's all there is, and the habits that lead you to that desired outcome need to be celebrated and controlled in the moment. That's how you reach those milestones and those goals and those desires that you're after. So if you're in the now and you have to make a decision between going and doing that workout that you don't feel like doing, or you're tired and you can take the night off, and and you've always got tomorrow to go and exercise, that's your choice. And those decisions are the only ones that you can control that are going to lead you down the path you want to go down. You have to bring yourself right back. As I said, there's no future, there's no past, there's only right now. And if you can train yourself and get in the habit of taking that action and bringing your patterns and actions right down to now, and knowing that if you make those positive choices and you do that enough, it's going to lead you to that future that you're trying to create. And then when that occurs and you're in that present moment, you can look back and realize it was you that led yourself down that path. There's only now. So you have to really dial it back and obviously have that ambition, like now. And that's what, a massive problem that I faced when I was trying to affect the future without doing any work on the now. As I said, there's plenty of times when I've felt I can't be bothered, going to the gym, or if, say sometimes, when I've got sick and then I've taken time off the gym, and then it's harder to get back into that rhythm because you lose that momentum, and you start to, your habits change. It's a constant in that moment. You've got to make those decisions. And even if, as I say, you've got to celebrate those small wins. So even if you don't have you don't feel like you've done all this work, or you've fallen off the horse and you're not quite where you want to be, make that decision in the now. Feel proud, feel good, celebrate that small decision, because those are the little decisions and the right shifts in mindset. As you change those things, you're creating your future. You're changing things. You're in control of your outcomes, because you're taking the control of the moment that you can control, nothing else. Right now, this very moment is yours to choose to do with it what you will. So I think absolutely you celebrate those little wins and each step you make in that moment that's going to lead you where you want to go. Now, the only way that I have affected any true change in my life has come through those habits that have been built in the now. Let's say if I go to the gym, say 10 days in a row, for example, right? And I feel amazing about it, and then I don't go for 5 days. Those 10 days start to get wasted and lost, because now I'm in the habit of not showing up, not taking those actions that align with what I'm trying to do. Those things that are going to deliver the results that I'm telling the universe that I want. I'm saying one thing and my actions are saying another. It's one of those sayings, actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than thoughts. You can have all the ambition and dreams and vision, more than any other single human being on the planet. But if you don't take actions in the moment and do something about it, those dreams and ambitions are all for nothing. And once you truly internalize that and understand that power and capacity that you have, it's liberating. It gives you a freedom, because you're, again, as I said, you're not worried about the past or the future. You're bringing yourself into the present moment, where you exist, the only place you exist right now. You know, you can let your mind wander, and you have that capacity. That's one of the most powerful tools we have as human beings, and that's why we have progress and invention and you know, all sorts of different experiences and that allow us to grow and evolve, because we have that capacity and that superpower of imagination. But if you don't take actions, you know, that's the yin and the yang. You've got to put the two together. And I think, as I said, once I learnt to do that, I can look back now and almost map like the dot to dot of the actions that I took day to day over the last 5 years that led me to now. And it wasn't, obviously I did have that desire and that ambition, and I have new goals and plans over you know, the future that's yet to come, but it wasn't the desire that led me there. That was just the start line almost, right? So if I look back now, every little action, every little habit that I've built that's become part of my daily ritual, my present moment, the way I treat my day, I can see the outcomes now because I can look back upon it. Like if and a fantastic thing that I think, on just as a side note, I think if any of you guys out there use habit tracking apps, or they're fantastic, and if you don't, I highly recommend you do, because it holds you accountable. If you don't have someone necessarily on this journey with you, it's important to stay accountable, and something as simple as a tool where it can show like how many days in a row that you've achieved a set task, and you can map the tasks that you want to do each day. That allows you to get into that rhythm, and you visually see the efforts and actions you're taking, and are you getting closer to your goal or further away. And I've spoke about this too in the past. There is only two paths to take. So when you're in that moment and you make the decision either to do the thing that leads you forward or to not do the thing, you're going backwards. There is no still. It's forward or backwards. There isn't any middle ground. You're either moving closer or further away from what you're trying to achieve. And that I would say would be the achievement that I can look back on because of those little mini actions that I've taken in each moment. The true benefit, though, if I was to look at it and analyze, since I was a little kid, the real win for me came from, I'm not a warrior anymore. I don't have anxiety attacks anymore. I used to have them bad, to the point where like a physical shaking and this worry and just taking over your nervous system, like almost like a shutdown, like a body coping mechanism, right? And it was only when I used to worry about what was to come, or what had occurred. And it's so freeing, and I want the same thing for you. If you are a worrywart like I was, I want you to take this and try it. I want you to give yourself this gift. Free yourself from all the pressure and strain that you're putting on yourself. Because that's what I was doing. It wasn't coming from other people, even though I was, worried about that I had no control of other people's actions. It wasn't really that. If I drilled down and understood it properly, it was how I was responding to those things. I wasn't taking actions to remove that worry and stress from my life. And as soon as I understood the control that I possess and just stayed in the now, God knows where my life would be. I don't know. Maybe had a heart attack. Maybe, had a mental breakdown. Who knows? But I want you to take this and give yourself this freedom. Take that time. Bring yourself right back into the moment. Forget about the things that are past. It's called past for a reason. It's gone. The future can be whatever you wish. There's no need to worry about things that haven't occurred. You're literally spending energy and time on things that may not eventuate. It's up to you. You have that freedom. Come back to now. Right now in this very moment. The fact that you're here with me listening to this or watching this in this very moment, you're taking action now. You're doing something that's leading you down the path, that's giving you some tools and techniques that's going to help your life and help you to become who you're meant to be. That's what it's about, Actions in the moment. So I'm so thankful to have this platform and opportunity to talk to each and every one of you that can hear this and see this and grow from this and share this with others. If you feel an impact and this makes a difference in your life and it is freeing, if you just feel that weight off your shoulders, share the technique with others. Tell them. I want you to experience this because it's been a game changer for me. Coming down to now and living where I am, it's liberating. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I've got to go do some more work on some other things. I've got some projects that I'm working on and building that I want to share with you soon, and I'm very excited about these things. And I look forward to being a part of your journey and your continued growth to be the best version of yourself. And thank you for tuning in. Let's talk again soon. See you later, guys. Bye.